Have you ever looked at someone's skin and thought, how are they literally glowing? I have a few friends like that I can think of off the top of my head. And the truth is, their secret might not just be skincare. They're probably doing a little bit more. And one of the things that they're probably doing is LED. LED has kind of taken over, and it is one of the easiest, most non-invasive modalities that we can do at home for effectively getting nicer skin. So today I want to dive deep into red and near-infrared light therapy, why it is the most researched, most underrated, and frankly, the most magical skin tool out there that we have right at our fingertips. So I want to show you some of the science, and then I want to show you my favorites that are in this category. There's a couple of new things that you should definitely see. I want to tell you about my favorite mask and kind of go from there. So let's start with what is red and near-infrared light therapy? Because I know I talk about LED all the time, but it's been a long time since we've kind of brushed up on the actual science. So let's start simple. Red light is visible light in the 620 to 750 nanometer range, and near infrared, or NIR, that goes deeper. It's between 700 and 1200 nanometers. So you can think of those nanometers as how far they go into the skin. Think of red light as your more surface glow booster and near infrared as your deep tissue personal trainer. It works under the skin, coaching your cells to perform better. So the whole process is actually called photobiomodulation. And basically that is using specific wavelengths of light to stimulate your cells to heal and to repair and to rebuild. Here's the simplest way to think about it. Red and near-infrared light are like charging cables for your cells. So inside every cell is a little battery pack called the mitochondria. Now, when light hits chromophores, tiny little molecules that absorb light, it sparks energy production in the form of something called ATP. Now, more ATP equals more energy. That means more energy for repair, more energy for collagen synthesis, and better communication between the cells. More ATP is just better for everything to happen better. It also triggers signaling pathways. It's like flipping on switches that tell your skin to make more collagen and elastin, to reduce inflammation, and also to clean up damaged proteins. It is not woo-woo. I know it sounds woo-woo sometimes because it's light, but it's actually biochemistry. And if you really think about how important the sun is to plants or how important the sun is to us, light is truly energy. It converts to energy in everything that we are on this planet, and that helps us to be our best self. And it's internal best self, but also manifests itself in our best skin. So think of LED as skin fitness. You cannot expect toned abs, for example, from one single Pilates class, right? Your cells don't actually store ATP for very long, so you have to keep feeding them regularly, feeding them light regularly. So 3 to 5 times a week is ideal, although I often do LED 6 or 7 days a week. I love it so much, and I can tell and have been able to tell for years that the payoff is smoother texture of my skin, even tone, and just a glow that looks like you had a facial. I mean, really, when you are consistent with LED, the improvement in your skin can be really, really great. It takes that consistency, and it definitely takes time. And of course, it isn't in isolation. You also have to have a good skincare routine and all of the things. It alone isn't going to, make you into, a different human being. But it is one of the pillars in my personal skincare routine because I love it. And it's so easy to do. It's relaxing, and I just believe in the science. Now, not all LEDs are created equally. You need to have the right wavelength. So 633 and 830, for example. There are variations of that, kind of real close. You need to have sufficient power. And ideally, you want comfort, you want usability. I mean, there's all kinds of factors, right, before you invest in an LED. So I'm going to walk you through a few of my favorites. First of all, we're going to talk about the Currentbody Series 2 mask. Now here we are, it is a year later. It's more than a year later, and this is still my favorite mask that I am recommending to my community. Nothing else has come along to knock it off its pedestal. First of all, the quality of the LEDs are better than anything else on the market. They actually used a system to verify that each and every individual LED passed muster. And that is not the case for every single product out there. And so I appreciate that. I appreciate that there's kind of a stamp of approval that you can actually watch the process if you want to see LEDs being sifted through to make sure that there isn't any that can't be used. They'll get just tossed off. They are not going to be used. So I love it for that. But beyond that, I love that it has 3 wavelengths. So it has the wavelengths that you want. It has the red and it has the near infrared, but it also has a third wavelength at 1072. They put it under the eyes and they put it around the mouth. This is a wavelength that is especially good for creating collagen. It's also really good for combating cold sores. I love that the 1072 around the mouth can help with fine lines around the mouth. It can also help with those cold sores. It can help with cold sore prevention, keeping them at bay longer. It can also help if you happen to feel that you're starting to get a cold sore, that you can use 1072 and it will either help you not actually get that cold sore, or if the cold sore does actually come to fruition, it can help shorten the time span of the cold sore. And it's significant. It goes from, it was like 172 hours to like 129 hours, the duration of the cold sore when 1072 was used on it. And I know that doesn't sound huge, but that's like 2 days shorter of having a cold sore. And if you are somebody who gets cold sores, you know having that go away days earlier is a big deal. So I love that one. And a lot of people don't talk about that with this mask, but I think it's a huge pro of that mask in particular, that it has those lights in those areas. Now, the other thing is it has this really super soft medical grade silicone that is just the most comfortable on the market. I love it. And then kind of is that it has a submental piece with LEDs that go underneath your chin. I love that too. I think that this area should be treated. I think that that is fantastic if you are someone who has aging concerns, obviously, but also if you have acne. We talk about blue light being really, really good for acne, which it is. And there is a blue light mask from Currentbody that is the Series 2, and it has blue and red light, and that's fantastic. But even red light on its own is really good for acne because red light is anti-inflammatory. And a lot of times inflammation greatly contributes to acne. So having it here, which is where a lot of times people break out kind of in this jawline area, is really good. Okay, so that is the Series 2, and it is definitely still my favorite mask. Recommended it last year, and I'm still recommending it again this year. So sticking with Currentbody, and this is newer to me, this is the Currentbody panel. And you guys, I actually have only had this for a couple weeks. I haven't had this for a long time, but I'm smitten with this panel. It is, first of all, I'm going to just show you, and I'm going to probably put some B-roll in here too. So you can put it onto a stand so that it can be freestanding. And then though, you can actually have it off the stand, so you can use it, like lay it over your chest. You can form it. See, it is flexible, pliable, but it stays, right? So you could lay under it if you want to. And the reason why I love that so much is that if you are somebody who microneedles, I love LED after microneedling. I love to calm the inflammation, cap the inflammation after a microneedling session. I always did that in clinic, and I 100% believe in it. I believe that when you microneedle for collagen, you are purposely setting off an inflammatory cascade. You are purposely doing that to induce collagen. But once that train has left the station, it's a great idea to cap the inflammation because you don't want too much inflammation. You just needed to set off the entire cascade. And then after that, You don't want excess inflammation because that's actually aging. So to me, I'm like, okay, you want that sweet spot of exactly where you want to microneedle, which is also why I never talk about microneedling at like 2 or some crazy depth. You don't need to be hamburger. You just don't need that much inflammation. You just need enough to set it off. And then it's a really good idea to use LED. Now, the problem with using LED after microneedling is a lot of us have masks, and masks are, you know, iffy because you really don't want to touch your skin after you've microneedled. You don't want any cross contamination. Now, if you really sanitize your mask and you're super careful, you can, if that's something you're willing to do, you can do that. But I've always recommended something that doesn't touch your skin. And in the past, it's always been one of those hard panels or something like that. And that's great. Those are absolutely wonderful. But something a little bit more versatile, something in between the mask that we love and one of those panels is the sweet spot, and that is what this is. This is that. This has 544 LEDs, and that's actually pretty crazy. The Higherdose mat that I'm going to talk about a little bit in a minute has 1,000 LEDs. It has a ton of LEDs, and this little panel, can see, hopefully you kind of get an idea of the scale of the size, has 544 LEDs. Now it has 4 different wavelengths. I'm going to read to you. So it has 4 different wavelengths, and they are 415, so it has blue. Then it has 633, which is red, of course. Then it has the NIR, which is 830, and then it has that 1072 in this panel as well. I mean, I feel like they knocked it out of the park. This would be perfect if you are somebody who works in a clinic, because you can definitely put it right over your client's face, laying down after you do a facial or anytime that you like to administer LED. I finished all of my clients with LED all the time. Didn't matter the procedure. I loved to finish them with an LED session. And you know, you always want to put the LED at a big old thing with an arm and all that stuff. And I also had a Saluma, and the Saluma was a lot like this. And I loved that because it was so versatile and really easy. The other thing about this that's super cool is you can put this over your leg. You could put it over your back. It comes with straps that fit right in here so that you can attach it to your back and wrap that strap around the front of you so that it is strapped to you. I mean, the options are endless with how you can use this piece of kit. It's really impressive launch, and I'm excited to keep using it and testing it in lots of different ways. The fact that you can put it on a stand is super cool too, because if you want something hands-free and you just want to sit and bathe in the light, a lot of us like to do that. That's usually how I use one of those panels. Then you can do that too because it comes with a stand. You charge up this kind of remote section, and then you can click through different programs and all that kind of stuff. Okay, the next thing that I want to talk about is, let's just talk about the Higherdose mat. I've talked about that in videos already, so I'm not going to go on and on, but if you are somebody who wants a wrap, or you want something that you can lay on, or you want something to wrap it around yourself or can lay over you like a blanket, then I highly suggest that you just look at the Higherdose mat. Now that one is 1,000 LEDs, like I said, and it's almost like a blanket, and it is just fantastic. And I have to say, I think I said before that it was the most exciting LED launch that I'd seen in a long time. And now it's right up there with this guy, because this one is super duper cool also, especially because I feel like this could work with clinics and it can work at home depending on your need and your budget and all of that kind of stuff. But that mat is definitely one of the coolest things that I've seen launched for full body LED treatment. It really is just really cool. I will definitely link that so that you can look at it and check out all the specs and all that kind of stuff. But it is one of the best launches and one of my favorite LED things that I own to date. Okay, another thing that I've talked about recently that I just want in this video, because I want some of my best picks to be in this video for when people watch it for the next, 6 months, but it is the Rajani lip product. Now, here's the deal. This is another one that is absolutely new and unique and cool, and just, that's what all of these LED products are. Aside from the mask, that is still my favorite from last year, I feel like there's so much innovation happening with LED. And the lip product from Dr. Rajani, if you've heard me talk about it, I'm sorry for reiterating, but it's really impressive because it comes with 2 bases. It comes with 2 magnetic pieces that fit into those bases. There are several different combinations that you can do. And basically you put the piece in your mouth, and there are LEDs that treat your gums, and then there are also LEDs that treat your actual lips. And I did just do a lip video that has so many tips and tricks for lips. I really think you should watch it. I will definitely link it. But that little device also treats your actual lips, and then it treats around your lips. Now that device also uses the 1072 wavelength, which is so cool. So that device actually talks about treating cold sores. So you can do a program where you're treating your gums, you're treating your lips, because our lips definitely can use that ATP. They could use that help producing hyaluronic acid to keep them hydrated. They can use that ATP help to produce more collagen and protect their elastin, all of the things. If anything, our lips could use more help than anywhere else. They are so much easier to be damaged over time than the rest of our face because they don't have melanin or very little melanin. They don't have oil glands. They don't have sweat glands. They have very little stratum corneum, this outer layer of skin. So our lips are just susceptible to so much damage. So treating them and doing things for them is a really good idea. And honestly, this was sort of an epiphany for me when I was studying the lip stuff a little bit more. It was like, why don't we treat our lips, like go above and beyond? They're so vulnerable to damage, especially UV damage. I mean, honestly, DNA repair enzymes and LED on the lips, and then always something occlusive at night, to me is like a no-brainer to help repair and protect our lips and get rid of past damage, all that stuff. So his LED device for the mouth is just incredible. I love too that it addresses gum health. And you know, a lot of stuff that has to do with oral health is completely connected to our insides, to our heart health and that kind of stuff. So it isn't superficial. It's one of those devices that I feel like marries medicine with aesthetics, which makes sense from Dr. Rajani. And so that is one of the coolest LED devices that launched this year as far as I'm concerned. Okay, then we have from Maysama, and I believe this is on pre-order, but if you're watching this in the future, this is November of 2025, then it'll be for sale. But she did a hand LED. Now, these exist. There are hand LEDs out there, few and far between, but they do exist. I have tried several of them and they're cumbersome. They're difficult. Lots of them require you to just stick your hands in them, kind of like at a nail salon, only it's LED, not UV. And I can't do that. I just can't. I can't get behind sticking my hands in something and not being able to move or do work or whatever. Even if it's just 10 minutes, I don't know, it's claustrophobia or something. Her hand device is really cool because number one, you charge this guy and then it magnetically just hooks up to the hand device. It wraps onto your hand super duper easily. I mean, like super duper easily. You can, with one other hand, put it on yourself. And I love that. But the cool thing is you can sit and you can work and you can do things. I have done that with this. I have tested it out and it works while you're doing your stuff. You can move on with your life and do a hand treatment, swap sides and do the other hand treatment. Now, of course, Bev from Maysama has, she has a particular interest. She's insatiable when it comes to LED. She is always looking for the next best, the science and all of the things. So of course you're gonna get in here your red, your near infrared, and you're gonna get pulsing in here. The other thing that's cool is you can actually turn on and off the red and the near infrared. So if you have any kind of a concern, if you do, about either one of those wavelengths for any given reason, then you can actually isolate the wavelength that you want and only use that as far as the red and the near infrared. I just think that that is super duper cool. This was an awesome launch from the brand. And yeah, I feel like this is new and unique in design, in wavelengths, in pulsing, in the way that you charge up the device, all of it. The other thing about this too, you can actually use this in other areas. It's a flat LED. It's not like you have to just use it on your hand. You could lay it on your chest if you want to. If you don't have a neck and deck LED and you wanted to do your hands, you can multi-purpose this one, obviously. You could lay this on your belly. You could lay it on your part line. You know, you could do other things with this if you wanted to. That goes for all LED. You can definitely multi-purpose. Just because somebody says that this is for that or the other, you can multi-purpose it as long as the wavelengths are appropriate and the power is appropriate for the area that you're wanting to treat. Then you can play around with your LEDs and use them in multiple ways. So that's the hand device from Maysama. Okay, I'm going to direct you over to the blog because on that blog I have some myth busting, I have some frequently asked questions, I have tons more science in this blog, and I think that if you're interested in diving in even deeper, it'll be a great resource for you. So definitely check that out. I will link it at the top of the description box. I hope that this was helpful. Please let me know any questions you have about any of the products or about LED in general, and I'll be happy to answer as much as I can. I hope you're having the most wonderful day, and I will talk to you in my next skincare video. Take care.